Good morning.
Good
Thanks
morning.
for joining us. Here we are, spiritually speaking.
Yes.
Yes.
What a beautiful day.
It is a gorgeous day out there, isn't it?
You
We
know
live
what?
in paradise.
We do. We actually live in too much paradise sometimes. I just said yesterday, because I planted a whole lot of new vegetation this spring, I said, oh, you know what? We need about 3 good solid days of rain to give my water hose a break.
Nice. Yeah.
We're doing some projects in the backyard, and we're about to do some sod, and we are going to have to do some
Good luck with
sprinklers.
that.
I know.
Oh my goodness. Well, I live in a place that I don't take care of any of the things except for I have my own plant for the first time. It's an amaryllis, and I recommend to anyone who can't grow anything, right, to put an amaryllis bulb in some tiny bit of water at the bottom, and this most gorgeous flower has bloomed, and I did nothing. Of course, we never do anything because creation itself does the work, but it's the first plant I haven't honestly killed. So that's the first time.
Well, I try to do tropical stuff since we live in the tropical paradise. And I'll tell you, I was in Atlanta 2 weeks ago, and I bought these fabulous big bulbs of elephant ear. And I planted them as the instructions said. Literally in 2 days, they were literally an inch above the ground.
I know.
Wow.
They grow fast.
It is fast. It is fast because we do live in paradise, and it's such fertile soil. And isn't that great to talk about? Because today, as Reverend Christy just said, we are going to, Reverend Temple Hayes is doing the message on getting back to the basics, the 5 unity principles. That's what we're going to be talking about today during service. So I know you all are all excited for that. And I hope you're here to join us in person, live in the sanctuary. And if you are, you can sometimes see this Spiritually Speaking right up there on the screens, and you don't have to watch it at home and then run over. You can sit in the sanctuary and watch it on the screens in there.
Yes.
Yes.
And come as you are. Whatever way you're comfortable, you show up. We'd love to see you.
And we're getting back. We have more seating in the sanctuary now. So come on down, like they say on The Price is Right.
Exactly.
Bob Barker, come on down and see us here in the sanctuary. So, Christy, what do you have to share about getting back to the basics? What does that mean to you?
Basics for me has to do with making sure that I'm really prepared for living in each day. So I learned something really wonderful once from a teacher that said, spiritual practices are not the things that you do like meditation and prayer and study and all the spiritual practice is being in the world with what you think you understand.
Yes.
So I do all those things in order to be ready to practice being a spiritual being on this planet. And it takes some practice. So I think back to basics is really being aware of your spirituality, being aware that you're moving on the earth in that way, and staying tuned up. That's what I'll talk a little bit about today, just staying tuned up.
Yes.
Yes, I agree. I think for me, getting back to the basics is all about allowing. We learn those spiritual principles, but then we have to allow Spirit to show up within us, and then we show up as Spirit, and we show up in our life every single day with living those principles to where we don't memorize them and it's something we say. Like, I remember that. I can remember the nervousness of Sunday school because one of my great aunts taught my Sunday school class, and we would have a certain number of verses we had to learn, and we had to stand up and recite them.
My goodness.
But it's not learning something so that you can stand up and recite it. It's learning it and feeling it in your heart and allowing yourself to live it every day.
Living it, that's the key, is living it, living out loud. We say that quite often. And the beautiful about First Unity Spiritual Campus is we allow you to come as you are, as you said earlier. So that's part of living out loud, is come as you are. And sometimes in our journeys, we don't know who we are, what we are, this, that, and the other. And you know what? Your journey is part of who you are. And I love when I see a light bulb go off in somebody's head when they awaken to the idea that this journey is all right. This journey is all right. And don't discount where you are in your journey. I just said to someone just earlier this week, I said, I'm always like ministers who've lived life. I have, and I'll say this very carefully, I have some minister friends who've never lived outside of ministry because they were raised in ministry, they studied ministry, they worked now in ministry, but they haven't gotten out and lived life. And I sometimes watch them on the sidelines listening to people talk, and I think they're sometimes sorry that they hadn't had the opportunity to live outside because they really adore the people who have, and they realize how rich it's made them as ministers.
And it's kind of tricky when you're helping someone through a condition or something, and you haven't felt like you've experienced anything yourself. It's not that you can't help them spiritually, but to have that human connection of saying, I hear you, I feel you, I empathize. That's a really positive thing, and it helps them feel like I'm not alone in having these experiences. I was laughing about when you said the memorization. I mean, to this day, there are things I can say, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, but all the books of the Bible, right? Because you were drilled to learn those things. Didn't mean a thing. I had no idea what was in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, but I knew how to say those names, right? And now I have fascination and curiosity to understand what's in there. So what are the lessons? What can I actually learn from this particular text? I mean, I love many spiritual texts, but of course the Bible has a lot of amazing lessons in it, more than just memorizing the
Absolutely.
Scripture, right?
Absolutely. And I love now going back and reading some of those texts that I learned as a child and applying the metaphysical meaning and seeing in just the reading, I see and understand now the metaphysical meaning behind it, when as a child I had no idea,
Well, there's some people who, even as older folks, who still haven't had the metaphysical aha understanding of the Bible.
Yeah, I keep reading over and over things that I memorized, and a few stayed with me. And I thought, through all this study, through all life, these few stayed with me, and why? Why did it? I think it's John 15:5 or 5:15, don't remember which one, but it's, I am the vine, you are the branches, and he who abideth in me, and I in him, shall bear much fruit, for without me ye can do nothing. And I remember hearing that the first time thinking, oh, there's this powerful thing out there that if I just don't, I got to make sure I stay aligned with it, otherwise I won't be able to have anything good in my life. But I listened to it more carefully, and it's like that the Christ consciousness was speaking of the Christ consciousness and speaking of spirit and speaking of the thing that we're all made from, and saying, everything happens through it, not you and not your little efforts. That's all.
Absolutely.
So just remember your source, and so that's been really powerful. Now I have it in my track, but it's like, remember your source. Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's part of the beauty of spirituality, I think. Remember our source and know from where we come, and then that gives us the strength and the courage to step out saying, I am. I am powerful. I am courageous. I am awesome. And I can do that because I know the Christ consciousness, God and Goddess, are within me, and they're within you. And that is such a beautiful place to be when we see each other in that light and in that thought and in that way.
And that's what Muhammad, Jesus, Buddha, that's what they're all teaching.
Absolutely, absolutely. As interfaith ministers, that's part of the beauty, isn't it? That we see. I did a class on Illy about the importance of interfaith in your congregation. So if you're studying to be a minister or a new thought leader, why is it important, interfaith? Interfaith is important because you never know who's coming to your congregation, what background they bring. And we have such a rich and diverse and inclusive community, people that come from all different walks of life and all different teachings. And to see and know as an interfaith minister that there is a common thread woven through all of that, and that common thread is love.
Yes.
Well, and the funny thing is humanity gets all caught up in the dogma versus the message. And you hit a nail on the head. The common thread through it all is love. What makes us different is our tradition. And I always say, let's not say that your tradition is better than her tradition and her tradition is better than my tradition. It's actually, those are just the vessels that we tap into that.
The way we get somewhere.
Yes.
It's not like we're actually arriving because we know there's no time, space, and spirit, but just as an analogy, right? I went to a meeting with some Sufi leaders. They were amazing, beautiful people who were sitting in a circle, and they had some chanting that they were doing, and we all were in the circle, and then they stopped chanting and they said to each person, how did you arrive here? And someone said, I rode my bike, and someone else said they drove their car, someone else said I live nearby, I walked out of it. He said, and we're all here. Right?
Yep.
Doesn't matter, right? From which path you arrived.
Absolutely.
And here we are.
I love that.
There's a beautiful book out, and I've actually quoted it several times, called Christ at the Round Table. It's not talking about Jesus at the round table, it's talking about the Christ consciousness. And if neither of you read that, or you at home haven't read that, it's a beautiful book. And I just encourage you to read it because you will have a major aha moment.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. And so now, speaking of that, we're about to celebrate Reverend Dr. Temple Hayes' 30th anniversary. And part of that is a 3K virtual run.
Yeah.
And
nice.
in our mission statement here at First Unity Spiritual Campus, we say that we pave our spiritual path. We empower you with these teachings to pave your spiritual path, experience your journey. So in this virtual run, I did a play on those words and said, in this virtual run, we are empowering you to choose your own path to do this run while you honor Reverend Dr. Temple Hayes. You might choose to run at the beach or in the park or in the mountains or wherever. Maybe you come here and go around the campus. Maybe you come here and walk the labyrinth.
Yes.
And maybe you don't even run at all. Maybe you just
You run in
do
your
a
mind.
visualization of a run, because that's also possible. And either way, you get a beautiful T-shirt that has Reverend Temple's quote on it about evolution and being a star. So get that T-shirt so you have that with you all the time, and you get a drawstring backpack. It's just lovely. So if you go to our app or on our website, firstunity.org, /temple-anniversary, you'll find the event page for that 3K run, and your registration includes the free T-shirt and the backpack. And you can also on that page leave a message, a love message or a congratulation message for Reverend Dr. Temple Hayes that will then be compiled and be part of our celebration service for her on July 11th.
Beautiful.
It's going to be beautiful.
And any way you like to celebrate. So for me, I'll be bouncing on my little trampoline.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'll do it for about 25 minutes. That will be equivalent to
Okay.
about a mile and a half. And
See? Be creative. Pave your own path. Pave your own run. It's going to be awesome.
Yes.
So thank you for joining us, and join it. Go get your coffee, get your tea, or get in your car and come on over and join us in person right here at the First Unity Spiritual Campus at 11:30 for our beautiful Sunday Celebration Service.
we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Going to the coffee shop per week per family is at least $72 to $85 a week. Therapy is $100 to $250 per week or per appointment. Dinner out is $65 to $110, and that doesn't even include the alcohol. Theater for entertainment, 2 people, $80 to $132, and that does not include the cost of dinner before. First Unity, a place, a beacon, a lighthouse, the heart of this city and the heart of this nation and of this country and of this world, teaching people to awaken and live their empowered and amazing selves. First Unity, that gives you food, spiritual food, that can transform you from the place you are to the place you long to be. First Unity, the teachings and the tools that allow you to let go of addictions and habits and things that are in your way so you may be free, so you may fly, so you may live boldly and brave and loving right from the core of your heart. What is the value that you place upon such a place?